Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Angel Rosada's house and the Team Hoback Crawfish Bowl for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society Man of the Year competition. I'm Chip Hoback. We're going to have a great time tonight. 1960, there was a 20% survival rate when you had a blood cancer like leukemia and lymphoma. So there's a 20% survival rate. You know, today that's grown amazingly, and especially in the last few years. When Mike Keith was the Man of the Year, it was an 80% survival rate. That's amazing. Now there's a 96% survival rate. So when was the last time we cured anything? It was polio, right? So now we've got a real chance of stopping this and putting an end to blood cancers. And it's real close. So that's one of the reasons why I got involved. Jordan and Jackson, Action Jackson and Jordan, they've both been battling this for a while. Jackson came through pretty good, and then he's had some count issues after that, but he's a great little kid. He calls himself Action Jackson, flexes his muscles all the time. And I've gotten to know him a little bit, and he's got a great family as well.
My name is Jackson, and I am 9 years old.
Jackson is very outgoing personality. He never meets a stranger.
Very athletic. He excelled in all the sports that he played.
Jackson had a bump on his head, and I would just, like I always do, went and rubbed his head, just playing around.
At first, I thought it was a bug bite when we first saw it, and it never went away, it never went down.
So that is what made us go to the doctor. They just kept saying that it was probably a cyst.
They decided, well, let's go ahead and do another biopsy just to make sure. I had a feeling it might have been cancer.
So Jackson was diagnosed, it was October 26th of 2010 with stage 4 non-Hodgkin lymphoma B cell.
It was difficult. I got upset at first.
They put him in the hospital immediately.
I was scared.
Our lives went from going here and there to being at the hospital.
I had to stop playing baseball and all the sports that I was playing.
Well, we tried very hard to keep life normal for Jackson and for our whole family during the entire process, because we didn't want him to feel like he was less than a normal child himself.
When I shaved my head, I felt embarrassed.
His father and his grandfather shaved their heads too to make them feel like everybody else. I told him that I would shave my head if he wanted me to, and he wouldn't let me. So I've never seen so much courage. You know, in the beginning when they were poking him before he got his port, he never cried. I mean, he never yelled like you would think a 7-year-old would. Jackson was such a trooper.
It ended up being a 2-year process.
I was pretty much at the hospital with Jackson from 7 in the morning to 7 at night, at the same time being pregnant.
So it was really difficult for Christina being pregnant, and the emotional involvement of being pregnant as well as your son going through treatments.
The first year was really hard. He didn't want to eat, and he looked really frail. He lost all his muscle mass. He looked like he was dying.
What we need people to do is to think about their kids and to think about their friends' kids and what would happen if all of a sudden where they are in their life, they would have to take 2 years off and live in a hospital or go back and forth to the Cleveland Clinic and not be able to participate. The main reason I got involved with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society in this competition was because I had a personal connection. My niece Megan Wood in Louisville, Kentucky is a great kid. Crazy about her. Of course, she's family, but she's especially wonderful. And when she was getting ready to go to the University of Kentucky, wanted her to go to Louisville, but she went to Kentucky. But she had a bruise that didn't quite heal, and it just lingered. And so they finally took her to the doctor to check out this bruise, and turned out that they wouldn't let her go home. She had to start her treatment that night. She didn't get a chance to go shower, change clothes, anything. You have leukemia, AML. We're taking you to the hospital tonight, and we're starting treatment. So she still thinks she can go to college. She still thinks she can participate in sorority. But it turns out she's got a 2-year battle, 2.5-year battle in the hospital, decorating her hospital room like a dorm room. Back and forth to the Cleveland Clinic, because crazy things starts happening when you're taking multiple drugs. So there's different things that go on, and the family has to stop what they're doing and spend time at the hospital.
June 4th was a Friday morning. They were getting up to go to youth camp that day. Dr. Cruz called us about 6 o'clock that morning, 6:30, and he said, y'all need to come back into the hospital. The numbers didn't come out right.
I remember going up to the 3rd floor and walking into the hematology clinic and looking around and noticing all these little kids, cancer patients, and I'm like, why? Why are we here on this floor?
And the doctor came in and told us that it could be anything, we're not sure, but it could be leukemia. And that was the first time we heard leukemia.
And I was like, what? I'm like, no, this is not happening.
Life pretty much stopped at that point.
It's pretty touching what these kids have gone through. So at this time, I want you to think about those kids and your friends' kids and others that have been touched by blood cancers. And I want you to think about how much money you've wasted over the last year. And this is money that's not wasted. This money is going toward the research and the support for the families. So now I want you to dig deep. I want you to grab that plastic. I want you to make a donation from your heart and help us in this fight against blood cancers.